Mary?
Yes. I'm Mary Walsh. I am a victim advocate for Alternatives to Violence of the Police. I work in the Moscow office. You said to give my address?
Please.
We don't typically do that. It's 1103 D Street. So, sorry, just teasing. So I just want to thank you, Mayor Lambert, for honoring this issue in our community and reading the proclamation. It is, when we get this type of public support and recognition, it makes it easier for victims who haven't yet received services to step forward and be welcome to talk about the issues and to come and receive our services from the community. Moscow is very special in so many ways, but it's not unique when it comes to the issues surrounding sexual assault. We have community members of all ages, genders, socioeconomic status, and backgrounds who have been victimized. We still have many of our community members, our family, our friends, our neighbors, our coworkers, who have not yet received support or the justice that they needed from their sexual violence. So when we do this, you are a part of the hope that victims in our community can feel. And last year when we were here in fall for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we were able to tell you folks a little bit about what we're doing as an agency in the community. So I just want to go through some quick stats. Just this last year, we worked with over 150 victims and survivors who needed help around the issues of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking. And that happens in our community. We responded to over 1,500 hotline calls at all hours of the day and night. We provided 1,300 individual advocacy counseling hours. We provided 103 educational and outreach activities. And we were able to shelter 26 adults and 26 children for a total of 534 nights of safe shelter. And those were people who were seeking immediate safety from a violent situation. We continue to cultivate partnerships as we build an environment in Moscow where domestic violence and sexual assault are no longer a constant reality in our community. We network with other providers to make sure that we're not duplicating services. Our partnership with Moscow Police Department School Resource Officer Phil Gray has led to the Safe Dates Teen Dating Violence Prevention Curriculum to reach all of the health classes in Moscow High School. And that's a huge accomplishment. We're really, like you said, Mayor, we're getting to the youth, and that's effective. Our city and county prosecutors, law enforcement, and officials from the University of Idaho are continuing to meet quarterly so that we can ensure monitoring and updating our city and county response protocols so that these crimes can ensure consistent response to our victims and survivors. Ongoing community support is vital to what we do. We cannot do it without your acknowledgement of who we are and the need in our community and your support, as well as support from the community. It shows up in so many ways. The financial support that we get from the city, numerous volunteers, to benefit in community events like the Moscow Raid. Some of the stylists at Essence Salon are they're donating their service hours and their talent to do a sexual assault awareness promotion this Saturday, and that's just huge. So again, I would like to thank you, Mayor Lambert, and the City Council for taking the time to recognize Sexual Assault Awareness Month and for taking the issue seriously. We greatly appreciate it on behalf of our agency and the victims that we serve. Thank you.
Mary. Just stay right up there, Mary, because I'm going to read this proclamation. But before I do that, Alternatives to Violence, as well as The Line, have been in our community for years and years and years, and have done a wonderful, wonderful job. When I served, I had the pleasure of serving on United Way for a number of years. They were two of the agencies that got funds from us. And, it's a sad thing, but every community does have those things in it, and we're not sheltered from that. So you folks do a wonderful job. And with that, I take great pleasure in reading this, even though there's a slight tone of sadness as well as I read this proclamation, Mary. Sexual Assault Awareness Month Proclamation. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month draws attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every community member of Moscow, and whereas rape, sexual assault, sexual harassment impact our community, statistics indicate that 1 in 5 women and 1 in 71 men will be raped at some point in their lives. And whereas child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reality that 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will experience a sexual assault before the age of 18. Whereas we must work together to educate our community about sexual violence prevention, supporting survivors, and speaking out against harmful attitudes and actions. And whereas with leadership, dedication, we can be successful in preventing sexual violence in Moscow through increasing education, awareness, and community involvement. And whereas Alternatives to Violence strongly supports the efforts of national, state, local partners, and of every citizen to actively engage in public and private efforts to prevent sexual violence. It is time for all of us to take appropriate action and to support one another to create a safer environment for all. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Bill Lambert, join advocates and communities across the country in playing an active role to prevent sexual violence. Along with the United States governments and the state of Idaho, I do hereby proclaim April 2014 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the city of Moscow.
Thank you so much.
Over here?
Sure. Oh, and there's the sun.
There's one quick thing I want to mention about Mary. I had my mother, my late wife and I, her mother lived with us for a decade, and Mary was one of our caregivers that was so kind and generous in her time and devotion in helping us. So I do have a soft spot in my heart for you, Mary, and what you do and the work that you guys do. Thank you very much.